do it. 3, 2, 1. All right, and welcome back, everyone, to the Shop Stool Podcast for what could be an episode of highs and unfortunately lows as well. If Joey's last message is anything to go on. So I reckon it's probably before we get to that, how's everyone's week going?
Oh, yeah. Pretty hectic.
Yeah. That's good.
Hectic. Yeah, busy enough with work, but they're still digging up my forecourt, so I've got no access to my workshop. So I've got finished jobs in there that I can't deliver, which I can't get paid for until I deliver them. It's just that whole thing about, like, I don't want to rock the boat and be a dickhead with my landlord and ask for, like, rental dispensation or anything like that.
Absolutely.
Because
you need to, though.
But, like, I'm not going to be here for that much longer, and I don't want them just to push me, like, if I'm weeks within potentially moving out. Like, anyway, so I'm just trying to keep my head down. So I've started working on actually came up nice timing, a few smaller projects that I could make with timber that I had in the workshop. So doing a set of those trophies again for the city of Melbourne, for their Melbourne Awards. A couple of memory boxes and a small star map table. So good, manageable things that aren't filling my workshop. And then finally starting on the clover table as well.
No way.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah. So the architect.
So are you doing one or two?
Uno, unfortunately.
One. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that was a bit disappointing, but one's better than none. And I sort of adjusted my pricing slightly on the first time I made it, as that was a lot more work than I had anticipated.
Yeah.
And he's chosen black butt for the piece, which is not what I was hoping for.
Why is that?
Have you guys used black butt before?
No, I haven't.
No.
So I don't know whether it's just unique to black, but you do get a little bit with Vic Ash and sometimes spotting them, but it checks quite often in the drying process. You get these little, they look like hairline black cracks, and they're not really structural. Like if it's on a tabletop or whatever, you could fill them with resin if you really wanted, or put a tie across them. But when you're using it for this piece where the end grain's exposed, where the clover legs come through the table, you can have some checking in the inside of the timber that you don't see anywhere on the outside.
Yeah.
And the second you cut it to that final length, and the legs have already been machined, and I've had $4,000 worth of CNCing done to then expose that checking, and I'm like, well, how do I cope with that? Like, do I fill it with resin at the end, and then that all gets sucked?
Which you've got to be careful of. Yeah,
exactly. It all gets sucked into the end grain, and then it won't finish properly. So
that's all you could do, isn't it, though? Isn't that what?
Pretty much, or you just leave it as a sort of a slightly more rustic table. And so I've tried to explain to him that, like, for me, I think the beauty of that table is that the form of the clover legs is what makes the piece. I don't think you need a whole load of texture in the grain. So that's why the Vic Ash and Tassie Oak and the Leatherwood actually work quite well together, because they were quite straight grain, nice, densely packed. Whereas black butt, because it's all quarter sawn, it's a bit more susceptible to that checking when drying, I think, because there's a bit more tangential shrinkage across the timber.
Probably, yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I've sent emails back and forth, but it's a conversation that's gone on for a long time, and I just need to get cracking on it.
So what's the timeline to make that versus when you might potentially have to not be in your workshop?
That's a very interesting question, Joey. So what are we now? The end of September. So we've got 3 months left in the year.
Yeah.
I'll get it done by the end of the year.
Good.
So, orders are closed until next year.
Okay.
And we'll just pray that it works, and pray that there's not too hot a spring here for laminating those legs, because it's started to get warm in Melbourne this week or last week out of nowhere, and I'm like, oh god, I wish I'd made this piece in winter. Yeah. So
why is that for humidity with the glue up? Is that what you're concerned about?
Trying to keep the leg stock totally square. I had major problems, even though I was stickering it and sort of taking off a mill either side, letting it settle. And again, I don't know how much of it was the fact that it was leather wood and it was hydro wood and all those kind of things, but it was just moving every single day. But the temperature fluctuations, I was making that between Christmas and March, so obviously peak Melbourne summer. Yeah, we're just gonna have to wait and see. But that's why I would love just some kiln dried Tassie oak, nice and stable, quarter sawn.
Yeah. So when is your forecourt due to be finished at least, so you can at least plan to get deliveries and stuff?
Last week, Joey. Last week.
Oh, cool. It was finished last week. Good one.
Yeah. They're now saying the end of the month, but I've got a huge bed, a king size bed that is taking up about a quarter of my workshop. So I reckon I'm just going to stick that on the roof of my van, try to carry it out around the works, stick it on the roof of the van and deliver that. That's got to go to Adelaide as well, so fun wee road trip.
Oh, sheesh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, good week.
And trying to sell a house and find a house at the same time. And I fucked my knee as well again.
Oh,
so,
yeah. What the hell?
Yeah, I saw that on Instagram.
It's been a pretty hectic fortnight.
What's the deal with that? Is that
it just feels as though no. I can't play football anymore at all. So all the exercise I've been doing is cycling, just cycling to and from the workshop. So it just feels as though something isn't right. Like the bone that was pinned back in might have fragmented or something.
Oh, no.
I went for an MRI on it. When have I got the 25th? Another 5 days before I have the meeting with the surgeon to even discover what the results of the MRI were.
Jeez.
Yeah, right.
All happening.
Yeah, I feel you with that because I really enjoy running. That's something I've grown into a lot in the last few years, and my fitness is at a point where I could do a marathon fitness wise.
Yeah,
but my knees just say no.
Yeah.
I can just do a half marathon, and by the end of it, I'm in real pain.
Yeah,
and it's so frustrating because
but it's probably
your body's
not,
just saying nope. You're not made for it.
My best mate here is a physio, and he would tell you, do not do a marathon. He's like, especially if you're slightly, I'll be polite, elder gentleman, like in our kind of vintage. Like if you love running, a marathon's the worst thing you can do because it's going to shorten your running career.
No way.
But,
right, okay, yeah. Well, every year I do a half, and I say that's it. I'm never doing it again. And then the year comes around, like, oh no, I got to do it.
But yeah, I would love to be able to run. I would love to be able to run again. Like I feel like my body's gone from being, fairly fit 30-something to being like a 50-year-old, 60-year-old, just in the space of 2 years. So I don't know what the prognosis on the knee is going to be, but it's not going to be. It's not going to be great. It's going to be surgery of some form, I would think.
Okay, that's not ideal given your busy rest of your year.
Yeah. So, but yes. What about you guys?
Yeah, Joey, what's...
Well, I've been doing not too much. It has...
You just kicking back, relaxing, eh?
Oh, man, there's nothing to do. Why work? There's actually almost no work around here at the moment. So it is dry as a bone. Like I'm scratching.
When you say here, do you mean your local area or...
Well, yesterday I did a little bit of a survey of people on Instagram who I know are scattered about the country, and a couple of people locally to me as well, and it's about a 10-year low in Auckland for sure. It's just dead, and Wellington's pretty similar. There's not much happening there. Christchurch and Queenstown both seem to have reasonable amounts of work, which is interesting that the other end of the country is pretty well like 3-4 months booked up, and then up here is just nothing. Like there's nothing. There's so little work. So I've got little bits and pieces coming in, but it's really tough to see what's going to happen in the next few weeks if I don't get some kind of actual jobs booked up. I'm just doing like minor things at the moment, and it's not going to pay the bills. I'm already in debt. It's been a couple of weeks since I've got a decent pay, so I may end up not doing what I'm doing. So we'll see.
Yeah, to put everyone in the loop, Joey sent us a message the other day to say that he might be looking for I think you said a real job, which I didn't appreciate because I think you do have a real job, but I think you mean more becoming an employee.
Some kind of employee, yeah, perhaps. I mean...
Yeah, I suppose employer.
The problem is finding a job that is going to pay what I need to pay, but obviously that's everyone's position, so we'll see. We'll see what happens, but I've been flat out... Just got off the phone before with my website guy who's a marketing fella as well, and he's essentially saying the same thing, that he himself is slow, let alone every other customer he's got calling up saying, push ads on my website, do whatever we need to do to get business. And of course, you can only lead a horse to water. If people don't want to spend their money, ads aren't going to make them do that. So there's a certain amount where advertising more is not necessarily the right thing to do when certainly here the economy is not great. So I'm not sure what's going to happen. So I'm just playing it day by day, and I've been drawing up this, I think maybe last time or the time before I mentioned I had a spiral staircase that I was going to take on. That still looks like it's happening, but not until January. The lady's been very nice in that she's paying me to draw kind of version after version to see what we can make out of the space she has. And so I'm spending just whole days modelling up the staircase and trying to make it fit a space that probably shouldn't have a spiral staircase in it. But it's
not
happening.
Your problem.
So now she's asked me to price up her kitchen as well for the same renovation, which is all great work, but that could be a problem because of timeline issues. You think about a renovation, the stairs, finishing off the stairs and getting a kitchen installed, it's pretty much all got to happen at the same time, and I don't think I've got room or time to make everything linearly, and so that might not be an option, but it would be nice not to turn it away, but who knows.
Could you, or would this be something that you would do? Would you project manage it so you know someone else who could help out, and you...
Potentially, I guess so.
And you get a kickback from it.
Yeah, that might be the way I might have to do it. I only say that because the stairs job just takes 110% of my brain power to get it to work, and I don't think I'd have my head in the right space necessarily to do a kitchen simultaneously, unless the client was willing to wait another couple of months after the stairs are finished and then we do the kitchen. But I don't know what the living situation's like there, so... if someone's moved out, they don't care about waiting, then fine. But if they're trying to live amongst a renovation and then want everything to happen as soon as possible, then that's problematic.
What do you guys normally see around this time? Because it's also, we've just gone end of financial year. So I mean, is it potentially related to that, or is that not normally a difference?
It's usually a bit quieter in winter, but it's really dropped off. I suspect it's more to do with the election and cost of living, dare I say it, because everyone's bandying it about. But it really is making an impact. Even us personally, we're not driving around much because petrol and diesel are $3 plus. So... petrol's going to be $3.50 by Christmas, so it's like you can't just go driving around. That's expensive to get anywhere. And if you live rurally like we do, everywhere's half an hour or hour round trips. You don't just want to start driving around for funsies. So it starts to make an impact, and I can see that's probably causing some hesitation in people's spending habits.
I would say usually it dips in August. like just after financial year for me. And then September, October, it starts to get busy again. People wanting things before Christmas and telling them, sorry, you're not going to get it before Christmas.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know whether it's quite hit here. I do have a few more inquiries where people are, like on my website, I've got an estimated budget thing in the contact form. I have a lot more submissions of forms where they're not filling in the estimated budget.
Right. That's just normal.
Interesting.
I stopped asking people what their budget was because no one tells me.
I don't know. I would say about 80% of people would have done it before, and I've definitely noticed a drop off in it.
So what's your interpretation of that? Like, what do you think? People just are tire kicking way more?
I think it's the same thing. I think it's cost of living and interest rates, and
they don't actually have a budget. They just want to see what it costs and can they squeeze it.
Yeah. Like all those 3-year fixed mortgages and things from the COVID days are now starting to expire. So
that's all happening here.
Interesting. Yeah, it's a fun time to be buying and selling a house, I tell you.
People are jumping from 2.5% to 7.5%, and it's just
we did that.
Yeah,
we went from 2.5 up to 6.
Yep. Yeah, it's massive.
Yeah,
I'm sure our younger listeners are loving this mortgage chat.
Yeah, it's great.
So, are you doing any more teaching?
Teaching? Yeah, I've had a few. I've had a few more inquiries, but right now I've just finished up. One kid just spent, I don't know, I think we did 8 weeks, an 8-week course making a bedside table, which was pretty cool. He just finished yesterday. I've had a few inquiries in the last couple of weeks again, but I don't want to commit to, especially after school times with teaching right now, because I might end up being at a 9 to 5 somewhere. So I'm just, again, playing it by ear. Which is fun to do the teaching, and I potentially could do it in the weekends anyway, because it's definitely not a money earner, but it's interesting. It's fun watching kids, especially teenagers, their idea of what finished is. Like, good enough, she'll be right. Like, it's like, do you want to sand the drawer front so it's nice and smooth? Nah. Okay, maybe we should sand the drawer front so you can't see all the pencil marks on it. Nah. It's like, okay. All right.
Yeah. When you talk about a potential 9 to 5, what I know you said you don't necessarily have a plan yet, but is there anything you're looking at?
There's one job that would fit me, where it looks like there's a somewhat local kitchen design company want a full-time designer and project manager. So that would fit me. So I have talked to them a couple of times, but I'm just still waiting to hear back from the actual boss man. And I have no idea what money is for that or anything else. It sounds like somebody who's started their own business and now wants to step back and not be so much in the business and hire someone to do essentially what his job was. So essentially what I'm doing now, but for somebody else.
Yep.
Yeah, well, that's cool. When you said you're going to look at getting another job, my first thought was that he's either going to go back on site or, construction site, or he's going to go like, I don't know, Mitre 10 or something like that, just to, find the time.
Yeah.
So to stay in design, that's pretty cool.
Like, it's such a crazy thing to think about. Like, when I've been self-employed since ever. Never actually had a real job. So just the whole prospect of looking for work and all employment stuff is completely over my head. So I've trying to school myself a little about it, but
I'd nearly been thinking the same thing, Joey, just about stability and what is going to happen when the economy does tank a bit more. I was like, could I teach? Could I teach full time? Could I do primary school teaching or secondary school teaching? So
teaching is a good gig.
Yeah,
it's a really good gig.
Nice stable job, and holidays are good for looking after the kids. There's vacancies everywhere.
Yeah,
and in Victoria now you can actually they just announced that they're doing free bachelor's and master's of education.
Oh, yeah?
All right.
Yeah. You just have to, I think you have to teach in Victoria for 2 years after you graduate.
Right.
Otherwise you got to pay it back. But,
Interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Don't
mean,
know.
I looked at a few jobs. I mean, if I'm desperate as, I can go dig holes on the side of the road because, you know, there's so many roadworks jobs out there, but God knows that's minimum wage stuff. So, a lot of it is lower paying, certainly. So
Your OnlyFans isn't going well now.
no, people don't like the shots of bloody toes.
Oh dear. And what about you, Robin? I got a lovely package in the mail yesterday.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that.
Yeah, cool. I'm so glad it made it. I apologize for the copious amounts of bubble wrap, but I have been learning a lot about the postage system, Ozpost, which we'll get to a little bit later.
Yeah.
It's complicated, way more than I thought it was. So it'll be a month ago now when we were talking about me doing veneers with that celery top pan. So after the show, I went downstairs and cut some veneers. And Joey, I was going to send some to you, but just from what you guys have been saying about getting wood through customs, I just thought,
probably not.
I'm not even going to waste my time. So I sent some down to Bryan. So I thought it would be an interesting exercise, Bryan, for you to tell me, like, would you purchase that as a veneer? As a veneer, was that done to an acceptable standard?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
It was perfect. The only thing was the knot holes.
Yeah.
Which I would probably have to patch, but the actual thickness and the stability of it is perfect.
Okay. Yeah, so I wanted it. I cut it up, packaged it, sent it down to Bryan just to get a sense of, you know, where, because
does it break in the post?
Yeah.
and not only that, just when we were talking, you guys were both saying there's a lot that goes into producing veneers. Now, those two veneers took me 15, 20 minutes to make. And if you, Bryan, are saying that it's passable, obviously with those knot holes, that's just got to be, I guess, declared when you sell it so the buyer knows, then that might be something that I'll look into.
You probably just grade them and have like A grade and B grade, you know, anything with a knot goes in this pile. But yeah, it was very nice.
Like something to think about. I don't know, it's probably too hard from a basic online shop, but most veneer companies have pictures of the actual veneer, and you buy it based off the picture, and they're all numbered. That's hard, definitely hard, but that's how they get away with selling stuff with defects.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Well, now you got some celery top pan in the shop, Bryan, so
thank you.
Use it for something. It's not a lot. It's just a small amount, but...
No, it'll be maybe a little memory box lid or something like that.
But having said that, after our conversation a month ago, a lot has happened. You guys went on and on about the market, so I decided to take that advice on board. We were talking about prices, and they really do range here. So some of the biggest markets are around $65 to $100. You get the smaller markets, which are, you know, $30 a stand, so you can get in quite easy. I was really surprised by that. But the main one that they have here in Townsville, it's called the Renegade Market. That's it's the most well known for handmade products. So you're not going to see a store full of, you know, those cheap toys that they sell for $1 a piece. It's all handmade stuff. So after we spoke, I contacted the Renegade Market to see if they had any availability. They do it once a month. There's nothing leading up to Christmas. It's all booked up. But they have this big market at the end of the year. They call it the Mega Market, which is essentially open to a lot more people. It's for Christmas buyers.
Right.
But the prices are way higher. So I got the cheapest stall for just over $100. They went all the way up to $400 for a big one. Which, I mean, it's fine. You want to be in that market because that's the Christmas buyers. So I applied for it and I got accepted. So end of November, I need to fill a market stall for a weekend. It's Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. So my ideas of doing veneer have pretty much gone out the window now, because now I need all that stock to make enough. And I've got to get it made by the end of November. So pretty much my entire thought process now is just making stuff, just small, market stall stuff.
What size are those blocks of celery top that you've got? How are they? 125 square or something? Or
140 square, about 600 long.
And because you were ripping it down fairly thick, like 20 mil, 18 mil or something, right?
I made some of the boxes, yeah.
Because you could go down to 12 mil and get way more stock.
Oh yeah, well for those veneers that I sent to Bryan, I cut those at 5 mil.
Yeah. But even so like the sides of the boxes, or the sides of, say, like the utensil box or whatever, they could be 12 mil and feel a lot finer.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying.
And you get more out of a block that way.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's just time. Time is. I've got the material. It's just having a day job and trying to do this on the side and really do it on the side. Man, it's hard. My day job has been incredibly busy at the moment, and it's just I'm a dad with a day job trying to pursue a career in something else, doing taxes, editing videos. It's so much. It is so much to take on, and but I guess that's why they keep saying I keep reading, if you to do this, you've got to love it, because otherwise it will just cut you down. Anyway, so markets, that's me for now until the end of November.
Serving boards, Robin.
Serving boards are plenty. I've got 5 now. I did one beginning of this week. I knocked something out. I don't want to be that guy who just has 1,000 serving boards, though.
A guy who has 1,000 serving boards has money to pay for his market
sales. Well,
I don't know. I think it's a really easy thing, because like everybody's got a serving board or a chopping board. Like every single house has one. It's quite a nice Christmas gift, because they're sort of, unless it's an engrain board where you're going to get 5 to 10 years out of it or something, they are expendable. So it's here's an upgrade of your serving board or a chopping board. Whereas not everyone has a tea box, not everyone has a cookbook stand. I just think serving boards, you're going to sell tons of them in the build up to Christmas.
And also, if you consider they don't all have to be square, you could do like specialty, like pizza boards, stuff like that, where you have, exactly. Yeah, perfect little serving board, which is great for bringing in, snacks out to your guests or whatever. But yeah, I remember you could do all sorts with serving boards and have variations of the same thing, like whether or not
it's fun and easy as well.
Yeah,
I reckon at $100 a stall, you will cover that so quickly. I know there's a lot of work involved in the build up to it, but when I compare it back to trade shows and things that I used to do, fucking hell, they were. I mean, I would always talk them down, but if you went on the first offer that they're trying to flog you a stand at a trade show, you'd be looking at about $5,000.
Mm-hmm. Easy.
And you don't get any sales.
No.
Your sales might come 5 years down the line or something like that.
That's right.
From a contact that you've made at the thing, but you just don't get sales. So I think a local market with small products is a really good way for makers that are entering the business world to work out what sells and make a bit of cash flow.
I was on your website, Bryan, having a look at your serving boards. Your pricing is pretty close to what I'm looking at for mine.
Yeah.
What do you have any? Is there any real thought process that goes into your pricing for your serving boards, or is it? Is it priced for the amount of work, or is it more just a side thought?
There's a decent profit in them. I will never make them one by one. I'll always they're called offcut boards, so they literally are the offcuts. So I'll let the offcuts build up into a pile where I'll make 15 in one hit, And then what did I do? I kind of priced them, including free postage in Australia.
Which is what I did for mine, because that just took all the complication out of it. I did posting in the beginning, and then I just said stuff it. It's free postage. Yeah.
Trying to calculate zonage and all that kind of stuff and the weight of it. Anyway, so I was like, yep, free postage Australia-wide. And then like the actual labour to make a small one is pretty much the same as a big one. So I should probably not even make the small ones. I should probably just make one size of them.
Right.
But it's, yeah.
What does
I do tend to sell quite a few of them in the build up to Christmas.
Right.
Okay.
What's the average cost like to send it to the farthest away place from you, Robin? Is it like $10 or 15? Or?
I can tell you that in great detail, because this is a conversation I had with the very lovely lady at Ozpost who explained to me I've been using Ozpost packaging, satchels, boxes, that kind of thing. Depending on which one you use, they have flat rates. So they might be $20 for the bag. So I've spent as much as $20 sending a package to someone. That was down to Tasmania. But if you package with your own packaging, which is why Bryan got those veneers and bubble wrap, then there's no minimum or flat rate for the packaging. Because I got one of their bags, put it in, and she said, no, that's going to cost you $20. Grab that bubble wrap over there for $3, wrap it up, and then it'll cost you $10. Oh my word, this is so complicated. Mm-hmm. So so about $20 is $20 is probably as much as it's going to be, but it could be as little as 10.
Okay.
Have you tried looking at Sendle, Rob?
No.
I remember Sendle being pretty good. Like during the pandemic and stuff, when I was doing lots of the little star map tables, I used Sendle for them rather than Ozpost or a Courier, and they were good.
What's
Sent
the
stuff to New
benefit?
Zealand with them. It was cheaper than Ozpost.
And then what mechanism do they use? How do you get it to them?
They collect it from your front door.
All right. And it's still cheaper.
Yeah.
I'll look into that then. Yeah.
And they can do bigger stuff. Like I think they do up to about 20 kilos or 25 kilos or something. So you can send fairly large stuff.
That's decent.
And any issues with them?
No.
My first sale was to my mate down.
Oh, you got a sale?
Well, it was from a mate, so I don't feel
doesn't matter. Ignore. It doesn't matter.
I don't feel like I've totally won. He says to me, "You've made the serving board, and I really want the serving board, but because we're mates, I know you don't want me to buy one from you. But please, can we just drop this so I can buy the damn serving board from you, because I really like it." So I said, "Yeah, cool." Because I just my rule with him was I don't want you to be the first one to buy from me. I want it to be an outsider. Anyway, so I sent it down to Tassie on last week Tuesday. It's now the following week Thursday, and it still hasn't arrived. So I think
that's all right. I wouldn't worry about that.
I thought it'd be quicker than that. They say 4 to 6 business days. I mean, we're now starting to get onto the 6 day, 7 day. Anyway,
you're right.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's me in the workshop now. I'm trying to film a video at the same time of it's an idea I had for a project where we need a storage container to put our dog food in, our dog food bags. So I've taken the idea of a Queenslander the house. So it's 4 legs to represent the posts of a Queenslander. The sides, I want to do weatherboards inset into slots on the legs. So they float.
Right.
And then for the top, I want to get a nice chunky, probably laminated piece, and then route in the grooves of a ColourBond roof. And I don't know what it's going to look like. It might be interesting. It might turn out to be absolute dog shit. But it's getting a brief and working to a brief, and that we'll see how it goes. So I'm trying to do that on the side as well.
Yeah, you got to stop doing that and make chopping boards, man.
That's it. Okay. With the markets, that's going to take priority. Also, one other interesting thing. I got have you guys seen on Instagram Indestructible Shoes?
Yes, they contacted me. Yes.
Yeah, right. They did. Pat from Douglas Fir.
I saw that.
He got a pair. They must be doing the Australia round.
Yeah.
They must have lost my number.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I posted some stuff about it, and all these people came out of the woodwork. Big Instagram channels, small channels. Everyone came out and I've got my pair and this and that. But they're a pretty good shoe.
Did you get two pairs, or did you just cut the one in half that you had?
So this is the deal that they give me. We're going to send you a pair which you need to destroy, or try to destroy.
Okay.
Once you've done that and posted the video of it, then we send you another pair.
Right.
Ash, one of my friends on Instagram, said what I did was said, no. You send me two pairs, I will destroy one of them, and then we're square.
Right.
Which I said was probably a better idea, because who knows if the second pair is actually going to come along and I just tore into a shoe for nothing. Because I took a reciprocating sword to mine, because I was genuinely interested to see what was in the sole, because they do this test where they stand on a nail and the nail doesn't go through, and it's because there's like Kevlar in there. And but anyway, the main
you didn't have the balls to do that, did you?
What, to actually step on it with a? No way, no. So I was essentially slamming the shoe into the nail while it wasn't on my foot and couldn't get it through. And I thought, this is legit, because these sort of companies who come out with these types of products, you just think, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors on Instagram. Yeah. How much of it is actually real? I'm not putting my foot in there and standing on a nail. But to its credit, it did well.
What kind of brand ambassador are you, hey?
I'm a modern cynical brand ambassador. That's right.
You don't have anyway. You don't have a table saw, do you? No. You should grab one of those shoes and just hiff it at the saw while it's going. Just see what happens. It would just be fun to shoot off somewhere. Yeah.
Well, the main reason I'm bringing this up is because, as someone who was cynical about the shoes, thinking they're going to be some cheap, nasty rubbish, they actually are very comfortable, and a lot of people I've spoken to have all said that they are good. And they've I had one guy who sent me a message to say that they lasted 2 weeks and fell apart. Everyone else has sung their praises. So if you're on the fence, from my perspective, they are pretty good.
Did you guys did you check out the clearance price?
Saw some of it on Instagram.
I saw a couple of pictures, yes, of that chair.
Yeah. Patrick Adonai.
I hadn't seen that before. I hadn't seen it anywhere. I don't know. That guy I don't recognize him at all, the guy who won it, but interesting chair.
He's been on Instagram a while.
Very interesting.
Sort of, I think he works out of Design Tasmania. Probably getting this wrong. Design Tasmania, I think, have a similar thing to the Victorian woodworkers.
Right.
Where they have like an artist in residence thing where they set people up. I'm pretty sure that's where he came from.
Okay.
That's the thing that I try to join. Well, this is for Hobart. They call it DOT, Design of Tasmania or something, and it's in Hobart, and you can use their studios.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, anybody in Tassie who hasn't been, I think the exhibition's on for another month, maybe.
I'd like to see more pictures of that, because I felt like the pictures of Instagram didn't really show what was going on with the chair. Couldn't quite make out. There was a lot of bits of wood kind of tucking around the back, and I was like, I want to see what. I couldn't quite work out what was happening.
There's a lot of stuff to it.
Yeah.
Usually the prizes that win are slightly out there sort of things.
Right.
A little bit more sculptural. I remember one that was like this sort of hodgepodge of random, it looked like carved canes, like walking canes.
Right.
And things made into a chair. So they've definitely stripped it back a bit this year and gone with a piece of furniture.
Yeah.
But there's some interesting stuff there. So it's on in Rosny Farm in Hobart.
Oh man, it's so cool to know where all these places are now. I saw Duncan Medding was there as well. He was displaying something as well.
I saw he posted this week about his hand-cut dovetails.
Yeah, him and Simeon did it. I think I couldn't work out. Simeon was there as well. I think he helped them, maybe. I think that was what.
I think Simeon helped come up with the jigs so he could cut it.
Cool.
So yeah, for anybody who hasn't listened to that episode, Duncan Mereding is a Tasmanian designer, very famous for the cracked sort of log design that filters out light, and he's legally blind. So Simeon Docs came down from Melbourne and created jigs to allow somebody who's blind to hand cut dovetails. Yeah, so it's a pretty cool thing. But it's definitely worth listening to that episode for anybody who's looking for a bit of midweek inspiration. Might even post a link to that on the Instagram. I've been very quiet on Instagram. Yeah, I've fucking totally lost interest in Instagram recently.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I just haven't posted anything in weeks.
But you've also got a heck of a lot on the go, so
yeah, I know. I haven't really had much.
Post some cool pictures of your front driveway area that isn't existent. Yeah? That'd be good.
Yeah,
do you want
actually.
Do you want it with or without the AC/DC?
I want I want the full experience. I want the ground vibrating and shitty tunes pumping.
Do you want the project manager being rude to me as well? Should I get him in?
And then you'll go viral, man. You got to get someone swearing at you or something.
Go full Karen.
Yeah. Get off my driveway.
Yeah. Fun times, but yeah. Let's see how the next few weeks go and whether I get projects out and whether Joey's still a furniture maker.
Yeah, in 2 weeks. Yeah. It might be make or break in 2 weeks.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie, Joey. When you send that message, I actually got legitimately bummed. I was a bit sad, emotionally sad after you said that, because that's not personally what an aspiring maker wants to hear or a woodworker wants to hear.
It's funny.
That must just suck dicks for you.
I got the same response from Jim from Emerge Furniture we talked to, and he's in Queenstown. And he was saying that he's booked up and he's pretty busy. And then he sent another message saying, shit, I feel like shit now. I feel like a dick for being busy and you're not. And I was like, man, that's life. Don't worry about it. I'm glad you're busy.
Yeah. Swings and roundabouts.
Yeah. So I hope anyone who's busy continues to be busy. But I will do what I need to do. It's a bit shit that I just spent an ungodly amount of money on my workshop. I would rather... I mean, if I knew I only had 6 more months and I'm going to have to go dig ditches, I would much rather have kind of 300,000 in my pocket. So, but anyway.
Yeah.
At the same time, you have a kick-ass workshop now.
Yeah, now I've got an awesome workshop I can do anything with. I just can't use it.
I would really struggle with the idea of if I gave up full-time furniture making and went to another job, I would really struggle with the idea of not having a workshop.
It's like a double whammy.
Yeah,
that would be harder.
Yeah, that is something that I was talking to my wife and considered. At least I could still take on bits and pieces, or at least make my own pieces in the weekends. Not that I have time to do that now, but at least the possibility is there. So, But stay tuned. Hopefully, I post a couple of pictures at some point of something I've actually made.
Yeah. Cool. Well, let's wrap it up there. We'll get another update from you, Joe, in a couple of weeks.
Yep. Sweet.
Best luck, guys.
All right, everyone. See ya.
See ya. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.